Program do not necessarily reflect those of the advertisers, owners, or management of Pacific Telestations LLC. For comments, opinions, and questions, please email Jess Lujan at jessthebuzz@gmail.com. The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
Welcome to this edition of The Buzz. I'm Jess Lujan. I have the folks from, of course, the Department of Labor. I have Phyllis DePosna and Lena Hammond, who are both program coordinators for the registered apprenticeship programs as well as the tax credit programs of the Department of Labor. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening, Jess.
How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, registered apprenticeship programs. Please, you guys are a hot topic, you know, with the, of course, situation with our H-2B. You know, last week, of course, we talked to Greg Massey, that situation over there. So it's on your shoulders now, ladies. So tell us about your programs.
Well, you know, registered apprenticeship program has been around in the United States. Actually, it'll be celebrating its 80th birthday. And on Guam, we've
And you're still an apprentice?
Pardon?
And he's still an apprentice at 80 years old?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And on Guam, we're celebrating well, let me go back. The apprenticeship program started here on Guam in the 1950s, right after the military, after World War II.
Yeah.
And, you know,
the first
rebuilding of
the
rebuilding of the island during that time frame. So registered apprenticeship was really crucial during that time frame. That allowed us to build up the what was the Navy Public Works Center and then the ship repair facility for most of the island.
That was the SRF at the time, right? Something like, okay.
Yeah. So, so we're kind of excited because, you know, with the way the H-2B program is here on Guam, we really need to go in and make sure that our workforce is ready for any upcoming projects, military buildup, and what have you. And the apprenticeship program is one way to do that because it's a program that combines on-the-job training and related training instruction. And it's a cohesive program, and you can't have one without the other.
Sure.
On Guam, we currently have over 500 apprentices, and under the then President Obama administration, he had the vision to double the number of apprentices in the United States. And so on Guam, we are working towards that. We are looking at increasing our apprenticeship programs, our apprenticeship numbers by 100 by the end of the year. And so that's where Lena comes in with our state apprenticeship expansion grant, and she can talk a little bit about that.
Now, Lena, let me ask, and again, I hope you include this in what you're going to tell me is this. The apprenticeship program, we talked about military buildup, of course, with Greg Massey last week as well, and you're talking about, of course, the need for these things. But how do we sustain? I mean, you know, okay, so we have a military buildup. Regardless of whatever it is, it's going to have a drop deadline. It's going to stop. Okay, you're going to build it and they're going to stop. But how do you sustain? How do you talk someone into getting into this field of expertise, a field of work, that you say, well, in 5 years I may not need you anymore. So how do you get them into these opportunities that have a long term, that they can go get mortgages out, and they know that what you're training in is going to be able to get them, you know, get mortgages and take their kids to college or whatever it may be. So, you know, the sustainability, the long term, not just the short term.
Well, that's a great question. And the beautiful thing with the registered apprenticeship program is that it is taking in someone that is either not skilled or limited skills in a particular profession or craft, and developing them over time. For example, to become a carpenter, it's a 4-year program. And as you're going along and getting the OJT, in the evening, you're going to class and getting the theory part of it, the related training instruction. So, you know, it's concurrent. So while they're working, they're still going to school. And as you're developing every increment or annually, the employer gives them an increase in salary based on what their performance, as long as they're learning the work processes to become a carpenter, and then also learning the theory in the classroom. And the beauty of it is that employers have the ability to design their related training and instruction. So they're not limited with the, you know, post-secondary providers here on Guam. If they have the subject matter experts in-house or want to bring them into the organization via on, you know, bringing them in from off island or doing an online theory practice, then they can do that as well.
You know, we often hear about, again, not enough jobs. There are not jobs out there. But you tell me, there are a lot of jobs out there to be had. There are a lot of employers looking for employees. Now, how do we get around that? Because, you know, here's the situation. You know, I mean, we're all guilty of this, okay? We all want our kids to have a great education, go to college and all this, and pay it for all, and we know that a lot of kids that go to college, we know that when they get out, a lot of them graduate with the same degrees. A lot of them are out of jobs. They're not employed. They have to go to other fields outside of what they're degreed in to get work. And we often look at programs, you know, skilled programs and all that as secondary. They're not our first thought. They're the afterthought. You can always do this. You can always do that. How do we change that mindset? Because these are the areas that are needing employees. And a lot of them are really, really good paying jobs.
Right, and that's what Phyllis and I are trying to do, is going out to the community, our employers, and also our workforce, our potential workforce, and letting them know that becoming an apprentice and then eventually a journeyman, there is a career path for you. Because going back to like what you said, once they finish this apprenticeship program, they're going to get national certification. They're also going to get, it's going to be endorsed by the U.S. Department of Labor. And then they'll be able to take that certificate and go this, you know, maybe stay here on Guam and open their own business, so to take it to a bank and say, hey, you know, this is what I have, and they're, you know, financial institutions are going to look at the employability, the long term that you're going to be able to do. So it is something that you have, that our future our workforce has to look at it as a lifelong learning process, and that it has to be an investment on their part. So if an employer is going to invest time and money into training you on the job, but also paying for you to go to related training instruction, then they have to do the same and become a loyal employee, but also take their related training instruction, their education component seriously. Now, you can also then turn that around and say, okay, well, I'm going to lose time from my family. Well, make learning, make homework time a family activity. And so then you're also then teaching your children that learning happens lifelong, and this is going to take me or change the direction of our future. So you're going to have certification, much like if you were going to be a nurse. You know, once you get the certification, you're going to have that knowledge to be more successful, be more critical, be able to critical think better, and then also, you know, who knows, be the next business owner here on Guam, be the next big contractor, or, you know, it's not, a registered apprenticeship is not only in the construction field. We do need it right now because of what we're seeing, the lack of it, but there's apprenticeship in telecommunications, in allied health, in hospitality. That
now let me ask you, you know, I mean, we're right around the corner from graduation, you know. One of the slogans, if not the slogan for the Department of Education, is preparing students for life. The fact remains is a great majority of the students that graduate from public school or school in general go out in the world of work right off the bat. That's the reality. Like it or not, that's the reality. Now, if their slogan is preparing students for life, they should be working in concert with you, because they're not the only ones that are preparing them. You guys are in the world of work. They're in the world of education. You're in the world of work. So how are DOE and Department of Labor, most particularly your division, how are you guys married somehow? I mean,
I'll let Phyllis explain that.
And actually we are.
Okay.
This year we started a cohort with JP Torres Advanced
Okay,
School. And these are students who need the extra credit to graduate from high school. They haven't met the graduation requirements yet, so they're put into the school. We've partnered with that particular school, and we have a cohort of 13 students. We started out with 13 students, and we introduced them into training with the GCA Trades Academy in construction. Out of the 13, we have 8 who have completed core competencies are now ready to go into level 1 training in what we call the construction craft labor position, which is kind of like an entry-level position in construction. It touches on plumbing, carpentry, electrical work, and cement mason. So it gives the students an idea of what it's like to be in the construction area. We are also working with employers to pick up these kids at the end of or upon graduation, hopefully, and put them into sort of like a pre-apprenticeship program and introduce them to the actual work that they've been going through the classes for the last 3 months with GCA Trades. And hopefully that'll open their eyes and say, well, this is really what I want to do, or maybe I want to rethink and do something else, but at least introduce them into the world of work.
Well, that's fantastic. I know, because we hear this, right? But if you don't really see it, and you talk about a lot of unemployment, why is it so high? And I talk to you folks, there's a lot of work out there, a lot of employees looking for, or employers looking for employees